So,
And with the new terminal, I was
all
asking
right,
about
we can stand for the
possible,
pledge.
you know, how they're gonna adjust additional.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And also, if we could have a moment of silence for Cindy. Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Support.
I'll have
Okay.
some items under both old and new business.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Review and approve the minutes.
Me.
They look good.
Good move.
All right, stand as presented. Thank you. Bills. Accounts payable dated 11/2/23 regular. $115,545.48. And EFT's 59,473.09. For a total of $175,018.57. And on 11/8 special, $23,129.34. For a total of one. I said one is $22,129.34.
I move that we pay the bills dated 11/2/2023 and 11/8/2023.
Support.
All right.
I do have a question now.
Yeah, go ahead.
AIS equipment, 566.95 for slope meters. Did the slope meters go out of the graders or didn't they have them?
Didn't have them.
Okay.
Only one grader had them, so I've asked Joe to put them in all the graders. So that
Okay, that answers the question.
they do have a digital readout in there too.
But you're not
So,
confident.
well, I'm confident in the readers. I'm not confident in the abilities on some of the guys to utilize them. But in some instances, just a slope meter just easier to. It's just a very visual.
Yeah, it's just a level.
Yep.
Basically.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Pestway, we paid them $4,500 to get rid of bats.
Yes, we did. We had a myosic complaint put in over it, so we went out and looked at it, called in the company to give them, give us a quote and everything, and that's what it
ridiculous.
took to take care of the bat waste and seal
This is
So they can't get in.
one of our buildings.
our outside garages.
Two
There's two of
garages. Joe drove in Litchfield.
It's on the single page of the accounts payable.
Okay.
Now, were those Indiana bats or were they Michigan?
I don't know if they were endangered or not, but we're stopping them from coming in.
But they were in danger.
They sealed up there's like a crack where the ceiling meets the wall, and it was allowing PCs and whatever to drain down into the building, so that was all cleaned up. They sealed that, and then on the outside sealed up where they could find anything they could.
$4,500.
That's expensive.
I'm going in the bat business.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, there's been a motion and seconded to approve the bills. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
We're doing three of these, right?
Yeah.
You said three?
There should
Yeah.
be two.
Three sheets.
Three.
I
One
have
payroll and two are
And you're doing.
We didn't do the payroll.
No, one's an EFT, so there's three.
Yeah.
Then I'm missing one.
Should be 2 payroll and an EFT, or excuse me,
there.
2
Okay.
accounts payable and an EFT.
Didn't dig deep enough here. My mistake.
And the bill needs to be signed too.
Alright, sign this one. That one's done.
It's finished. Is this the park stuff here?
No, they already took park stuff, that's
Okay.
today's,
That's today's
yep, that's
road.
road commission.
Is that last page done on that one? Mike, the very last one.
Yep.
Okay, alright. Alright, payroll dated 11/9/23, in the amount of $114,269.35.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
He's done.
Alright. Treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance was $4,220,815.20. Total receipts was $47,922.05. Total bills and payroll is $312,417.26. Bonds and escrow is $10,250. CD reserve for 2 trucks is $629,182.61. Ending available fund balance is $3,316,887.38. Outstanding accounts payable is $332,645.53.
Any questions? If not, stand as presented. Thank you. Public comment. Alan?
Yes, Reading Township, and I was out driving the roads, and our gravel roads are looking pretty good. You guys are out there with trucks right now scraping. But Hemlock Road, south of Banker, to the Long Lake Boat Launch, that's a crushed limestone road, is in really bad shape. There's a lady over there, she told me she called in 3 times, and I just want to ask, there's no follow-up activity when somebody calls in. So she calls, she's very frustrated, now she calls me, and now, and I told her I'd come and I'd bring it up, but I just wondered, there's no follow-up activity. No callbacks, no, nothing.
I feel like I'd be on the phone all day.
Yeah, if it's just a generic, like, service request somebody put in, I don't know if they're gonna get a call back. We have somebody dedicated to do that all day.
Okay,
If it's something specific, a specific issue, and we've told them, yeah, we'll call you back, I'm good with calling people back on those, but if we tried to do it to every single pothole or mowing complaint or tree limb complaint, we would have a full-time body doing nothing but
okay.
returning those.
And I just wanna mention, I drove down Bigelow, which is usually a road that's really bad. I drove so fast, I blew right past Gilmore. I had to turn around and back up.
That's why the roads are so bad.
It's nice and smooth. Going down Gilmore, I just wanna mention, the Amish are down there plowing. They're plowing east and west. They come right up to Gilmore with their horses and their plows. They get out into the road, dump all their trash, turn around and go back in the field. Just mentioning that. A lot of debris. On top of the hill, Gilmore, just before you get to Reading Road, there's a lot of clay in that dirt. And I mean, you get up there right now, it is squiggly or swirly, whatever you wanna call it, just letting you know that.
Yep.
Gilmore just before
Reading. And I wanted to mention one more thing. This week, I found out when I was researching ORV ordinances for Hillsdale County, there is an ordinance. And in this ordinance, it does address ORV damage to roads. And I'm just bringing it up because I didn't know about this until this week. Section 10 in here, people can get ticketed and get fined $500, and there's a process where the road commission will get some money out of that. So I'm just mentioning that. That's it.
I would think that taking an ORV would be very difficult. You'd have to catch them in the act and stop them in the act and write them a ticket in the act. I mean, most of
pretty
the
much
time
the
when-
police would have to.
most of the time when you
Be
get
right
there, they're gone.
Yeah.
I have a lady down on Bigelow's taking pictures. And she has a picture where you guys have scraped the road and it was real clean. And then here comes the ORV tearing it up. She has pictures.
They've been with donuts and stuff like that.
Yep.
I don't know if they can even do anything with pictures.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I mean, they go ahead and talk to them, but
If you had a eyewitness willing to file a complaint,
and one of those, the cops have to be the ones that catch them.
You gotta have two evidences. You're worried.
That's one of the hard parts about
Right.
road damage or anything that.
Well, I do know that DNR gives tickets.
Mhm. They're authorized too.
Sister-in-law and brother-in-law got them. For no helmet and no ORV sticker. And I just told them, don't you mention my name, I don't want to know you.
We are no longer related.
Yeah, we're not.
What was the ordinance number just off,
Pardon?
the ordinance number?
Here, I'll give it to you. And I
That's
highlighted,
easier.
Alright, thank you.
There you go.
Where did you find that?
if you go to Hillsdale government, and when the website comes up, there's a center column and you'll see ordinances. You go in there and you go down and that's where I found that. The last time I had looked that up was in 2017 when I purchased my ORV, and it's a lot different, and it's due to expire this coming year. I just was talking to Mr. Commissioner Wiley. I think it's a good ordinance to even have, because a lot of times if you just say there's an ordinance, it helps.
There isn't an ordinance number on it. It refers to the MCL, but. Alright, thank you.
Next, anybody else, public comment? None.
Yeah, I had an employee here, talk to me, it was about a month ago, about, Bacon Road. He said his wife drives it every day to work between Sand Lake and 49. And the first time I was on it was yesterday, cause he said she was talking about how bad it was. And we rode it yesterday and I'm like, wow, I was trying to figure out if the fog seal didn't work or what was going on. But then we realized all the stone from the seal coat's gone. I've never seen a road that bad that's been seal coated in my almost 23 years here. I don't know what happened, but it's the cold weather, but the stones, I'm afraid that's gonna be super slick this winter. I don't know what they're planning on doing. I hope they don't fog seal it now, but I think I'd make it twice as bad, but I don't know if anybody's been made aware of this yet or not.
Are we fine?
Yeah.
Yes, we do know about it. Basically, as near as I can conclude is that road had a lot of paver patch done on it, so it was brand new asphalt. And the shot rate on the emulsion wasn't bumped up because everybody commonly assumes, oh, it's a brand new road, it's not gonna take much to cover it, but a brand new asphalt absorbs more and has more air voids than old roads. And so it actually sucks in that emulsion and didn't leave enough on top to stick with the stone. And so the stone didn't bond. So it is failed, that's in my opinion, and it'll have to get redone next year. There's nothing we can do about it this year. It shouldn't be any slicker than any other. Actually, I think the coefficient actually goes up with emulsion, just from tests that we've done. And it'll be okay for this year, but I think we do need to redo it again next year to actually seal it correctly. But
So is it pretty much the entire situation from Sand Lake Road to M49?
it's a lot of it's in the wheel tracks. It's just gone.
70 to 80% of the wheel track is gone.
So basically, there wasn't enough emulsion there to seep the stone in it and like hold it. And so when a lot of that emulsion absorbed into the new asphalt, it was kind of like a stone sitting on top of glue, and traffic just beat it off of there. So it's got to get redone. It's about a 2-mile stretch. And we're trying to figure out right now how to go about, picking up that loose stone that's on the sides, because there's a lot of it actually in the intersections too. So we're exploring many avenues of getting the contractor in here to sweep it up, or with a back type street sweeper. Get that picked up for this year and go at it again next year.
So, I'm hearing that was because it was put on top of new blacktop, but it's all put on top of new blacktop. Why did you fail in this particular spot?
Not necessarily.
Well, but there's pieces, parts, it's all new blacktop. So how did we fail in this instance?
The shot rate, I can just assume the shot rate wasn't high enough when they sprayed out of the emulsion, out of the tanker. It didn't spray a high enough rate to seep the stone.
And we didn't have that failure anywhere else?
Not that I've been told.
Well, I also heard Reading City wasn't sticking either. I did hear that Tuesday. From somebody I worked in Reading.
But we did do some of the city streets for Reading.
Right.
But I think those should be fogged tomorrow. I think we're done fogging. That'll be part of my thing. I think tomorrow we'll be done fogging everything. Bacon won't get fogged for that reason, and the emulsion supplier ran short, and so we won't have enough to fog it anyway. So.
Can I say something?
Sure.
So the expense on this is probably gonna be, what, close to $100,000 to fix that? Maybe more? Less?
No, probably. Or at least 50.
So is there a procedure that they're supposed to follow that, and if they didn't, maybe some corrective actions should take place on this? I don't know how you guys manage this stuff, but I'm just wondering if something like that, because that's fairly big, that maybe corrective action has
Well, we'll definitely do some more training with the distributor operators and everybody, but at the time when they did it, they wouldn't have probably seen it. You can't see with your eyes, you know, the shot rate.
Yeah, but there should have been a record of it somewhere that this is gonna be happening.
But it was the same shot rate as they've applied everywhere else. It just happens that material or that section of road absorbed more of it than other sections.
There was a healthy chunk of that section of road that did get paver patched.
There was a lot of paper patches down through there.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. If all this paper patches was done, they should have been logged someplace, and when you get ready to go seal coat it, pull that log out, follow some.
Well, you can see where it's paper patched, and that's part of the training is they probably didn't bump the shot rate up, and the guy in the cab can bump it up or bump it down depending on the condition of the road. And
So it could have just been like a pilot error type thing.
that's part of I'd call it training.
They got a foreman out there.
And
Yeah,
we're talking Hillsdale County road employees.
Yes.
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 Well, if we weren't fog sealing in the cold and the rain, it probably would have stuck too. It's hard to stick when it's
I
raining.
won't comment to that.
Probably not. You know, they blame the employee.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got something. Sand Lake Road, Bean Road intersection, just south of the intersection, there's some pretty deep potholes in the gravel road.
Yeah, true.
So we need to do a service request after this?
Yeah, I mean, any pothole, gravel road, all it takes is a call into Karen or do you put a service request in and they can go out and do it.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
The off-road, vehicle ordinance is resolution 19-093.
That's a resolution, not an ordinance.
Yes, it's a resolution.
Can you just repeat those numbers one more time?
19-093.
That's all.
Thanks. Anybody else, public comment? Alrighty. You're up.
No standing orders? All right, let me go through some of these things. I'll go under old business. I'll go under old business. Okay, so just a quick note that the territorial road bridges, the road will be closed down on the 13th, and at that point, the detour routes will be effective, and the contractor will start working on the bridges, tearing them out. They intend to start driving pilings on the 4th of December, and we're dealing with an issue right now with a new consumers line that nobody was aware that it got put in since the original plan was drawn like 6 years ago, whatever it was, for these bridges. Since that time and now, consumers has rerouted a power line to take it out of the like a private easement and put it along the right of way, which is now in the area for the crane to be able to drive the pipe. So Charlie's been working diligently with consumers. A letter's gone all the way up to the consumer's vice president to try to get it resolved so they can still drive their piles on the 4th. Sounds like there's a couple options that they're willing to look at, from one backfeeding, because that line also feeds Lake Diane. It's the only line that feeds Lake Diane. And so they can add in another section on the other end of Lake Diane to backfeed them from that direction. And they can also try to get back into the original, a small part of the original easement to basically go around the bridges. You know, they used to come out around the bridges and go way down through woods and everything, and that's why they brought it back into the right of way to, you know, for the ease of that. But they are looking at both backfeeding and another loop to go back around the bridges to allow the plow drivers to do the thing. Anything else on that?
Nailed it right on the head.
Alright. And with that, they're still planning to be done by the end of June. Let's see, I might as well roll into the papers that I handed you earlier, which are the pricing document for the inspection and testing for the bridges, and they came back with a whopping $341,786.49 for the one company, and the other one is like, where did I put it? $399 and some change. So these are not to exceed numbers, and so they are padded considerably so that they don't lose their butt when they're at it. So it won't necessarily be that high. There's certain ones that have to be there for the testing and stuff like that, especially for the concrete beams. But if we can figure out other ways to assist with the inspection, or if we can use some of our people to help some of these, that can take away from this overall bill. So this bill has, or this quote, or these quotes have been added to the budget that I'll go over here in a little bit to reflect some of that change. But I believe we need to probably ask for an award to Manic Smith for the $341,786, not to exceed that. And if we can work it to where it reduces throughout the construction of the bridges, great. But that's where we're at with that. We want to discuss that first, or because that is part of, under the old business, the award of the full construction engineering for territorial road bridges. That's that item there. But
So I have a question.
Sure.
So if we award, this contract to this company, and we find a cheaper alternative, can we say we only want you to do this part and this part of this contract?
yes.
And we're gonna do,
It's only by the hour, so it depends on how many hours we have that inspector.
Okay.
So we can take out this like lead inspector for 1,300 hours. That's 138,000 of that. So if we can figure out a way to do that, or part of it, we can. Like I said, they're going to bill by the hour or by the item as they go. So if they don't have to, if this whole thing only takes 1,000 hours, then they're only going to bill 1,000 hours. So like I said, this is a not to exceed number, and if we can do anything to take away from it, we can.
Cut the cost.
So you said that, of course, this is built for worst case scenario on their part. What's the expected expense for inspecting this bridge?
Well, with the lead inspector and the supplemental inspector, there's one area that says 608 hours. We told the contractor or the consultants to have 4 months of inspectors out there, 2 inspectors on the project. So you have two bridges at the same time between January and April. So if things fall in our favor and one inspector can cover both projects at the same time, that'll also be a savings. But if they're doing pile driving on one project and then doing a deck pour on the other project, then they're going to have multiple inspectors out there to cover it. So it will really come down to weather and availability of when the beams actually show up to site.
So we really have no control on this number, and our expectation for it to come in significantly less, or
Yes, we told them
would be on-
to bid 4 months of having 2 inspectors on the project. It could end up being only a month and a half or something, but just to keep the playing field even for both consultants, we told them just both you guys assume 4 months of dual inspectors.
Now, kind of to answer your question, I think that you originally asked, normally on a project like this, it's anywhere from 10 to 20% is what the engineering and testing and inspection runs. And so as this project has gone up since the original inception. It's now sitting at, 3.4 million for these bridges, so that also goes up with it.
And that's only 10%, is what you're saying.
Roughly, yes. So in the grand scheme of things, it's in line with other projects and what they get charged as far as engineering.
And I'd hate to see what the price would have been if the bridges were gonna be built in the summertime and we'd have to have a consultant and they'd be competing with other projects going around the state. So this is technically their downtime for inspection, so that's why it's usually closer to the 15-20% range.
And that's if our contract, if that contract don't change for any reason. If it changes, then.
Yeah, if there's any significant changes, then this could change too, but
You're
I
talking,
think they've hedged their bets all the way around on both Milbacher and Smith.
Well, I would move we award the construction engineering contract to Manick Smith.
Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
I didn't hear someone support it.
Mike.
Okay.
Mike did.
So I have some questions regarding signage on the detour. So I don't know whether now's the time for me to ask them, or you want me to hold them off till you get done and come
We
back?
can, I mean, we can take care of territorial road bridges all at once. The plan, I've got the entire plan for the detour route. Our sign shop guys went out and staked it all for the plan. There's like 62 signs total, all the way around the detour route, along with, I believe, 2 message boards and barricades to actually close it at the construction site. So there's significant signage that every road and every intersection coming up to that.
So who's putting up the signs? Are we
Give 'em a
putting?
break. Give 'em a break is the contractor that's working under Smith Mannix, they're under Milbacher's contract
Okay.
to do signage.
So the reason I'm asking that question is that yesterday I came to Hillsdale. I had to go to the slaughterhouse on Territorial Road to pick up some items, and I went straight west because I was curious to see if there was any signage out there already. So there's a electronic sign just west of South Hillsdale Road and Territorial. It's not working.
They haven't, the 13th is when they're closing.
Well, last night, I went to Camden to the township board meeting, and then I went straight south on 49 to Territorial Road and came back east to go to the Amboy Township board meeting. The sign east of 49 on Territorial was working. The sign on just west of South Hillsdale Road wasn't working. That makes no sense, all
Well,
right?
they could still be working on it, I mean,
They have till the 13th.
Yeah, well, they should have had the signs out there a week ago, and it's also solar fed, so depending on how the battery is depleted or not. But that's also a responsibility of the inspector for the project to check all the detour signs and message boards,
which we're approving.
right now, so that would be their ultimate responsibility.
They're in the process of doing all the signage.
The only road signage that I saw up on my travels yesterday and last night, other than the 2 message boards, one of them wasn't functioning, was on Camden Road headed west of South Hillsdale Road. About every mile there was a sign, it was small, it really wasn't that big, that said, detour route. But right in the village of Camden, where the detour route goes south on 49, there was no sign there to tell you.
They might also be waiting for Mistig, because they have to get Mistigs on utilities before they drive those posts in the ground.
Okay.
They're working now, there's 62 signs all the way around that will be in place. I can give you a copy of it if you'd
But
like.
it just seems to me that this is Thursday, they're gonna close the road on Monday. Why shouldn't those signs been out there at least a week in advance of when you're gonna close the road. To me, that seems reasonable, not to put them
It
out.
also causes confusion to drivers. When you're detouring them, there's no detour there. There's no need for it. The electronic signs, yes, right, there's a certain day they're supposed to be out. But all the rest of them really aren't gonna be out there for the public to see and get them confused or whatever until they need to have it closed. And they've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 more days, because they'll work through the weekends too, to put those signs up just prior to the project starting.
Well, I can assure you that Sunday I'll go back out and drive the route to see what's out there because, you know, one of the real concerns I have is where these bridges are located. If you're a semi-truck driver and you get down there, you have no place to turn around.
There will be signs there, Gary.
Could create some serious liability issues for us if we have particularly, you know, if it's a car, if it's a van, if it's a pickup truck, you can get turned around. But if it's a semi-truck driver, you have no way to turn around.
They will go by detour
Either way.
signs and barricades to get to a point where they couldn't turn around. They'll have to just acknowledge, know that they're going into a detour.
So is the signage going to say
I'll get you the whole,
on both ends of Territorial Road, is it gonna say bridge out so
Yes.
many miles ahead?
not miles, it just says road closed or bridge ahead.
Why doesn't it put the mileage on it, how many miles ahead the bridge is gonna
Does it
be at?
matter? If you go by that sign, you're going to a closed bridge. It doesn't matter whether it's a mile or 2 miles. It's closed.
The whole road's closed.
Yeah, I understand the road will be closed, but in between the intersection there, you have to allow for local traffic. You've got, you know, all the people at Lake Diane have to be able to get in and out.
Not down Territorial Road, they won't. That'll be closed, period.
So what about the people that are between Territorial Road?
There's nobody between the bridges. You go either way. If you live on Territorial Road to this bridge, you go that way. If you live on Territorial Road this way, you go that way. You will not physically be able to, the bridges won't be there. They're gone. They'll be gone.
That's not the issue for me. What the issue is, you know, so there's people that live on that road from South Hillsdale Road to the bridges. So how are they supposed to get in and out if they can't go out east on Territorial Road, east of the bridges?
They will. There will be a barricade blocking the incoming lane, saying road closed, at bridge. The people that live there can go around and go to their house. But if they go past their house and try to go to the bridge, they're not going nowhere. It's closed. That's what that sign's telling them. It's closed. It's telling everybody else it's closed. Detour is that way.
Okay. Well, I guess.
So they've got to be able to get through to people that live there.
Yeah.
But there'll be signs there saying road's closed ahead at the bridge. So a trucker, if he goes around that, he gets to back up a long ways.
Well, that's on him if he goes around a barricade. That's not on us.
Yeah.
I can
Because the
give you the
barricade's gonna
entire
be there.
detour route and what all the signs say and where they're placed and they even went out and drove the stakes and marked them on what that sign's gonna say and everything worked.
Well, they weren't all right, but,
There's like 2 interchanges.
that I know of.
So at South Hillsdale Road and Camden Road, and in Camden at 49 and in Camden Road. So there's going to be signs there that tell people to turn on the detour road.
Yes.
Because none of that was there yesterday.
The
last
road's
night.
not closed yet.
They can't do it if it's not closed.
You can't wait until the day of the project to put the signs out, can you?
Yes,
Yep,
you
that's-
do. Or there's confusion. Or people like.
I think it's confusing if you don't give people some notice that you're gonna have this road closed and you're gonna have a detour route. If you don't give them at least a week's worth of notice.
We have given them some notice because it's been posted on Facebook.
Yeah, but how many of these truckers use that?
You'd be surprised,
You'd be
most of them
surprised.
are very computer savvy.
We've talked to.
But
the
you also
townships.
have a segment of people like me who are not, and are not gonna use that information.
That's why the signs are there. Right now, you can drive through it, fine. When you drive up there tomorrow and that sign's there, you need to turn. It's that simple.
I just hope all the signs are out there on the day we close the road,
I will too.
because I'm gonna drive it, and if they're not, you're gonna hear from me. And then one other issue, okay, and this was brought out at the Camden board meeting last night. Those of us who live in that part of the county know that Camden Road has a tremendous amount of Amish traffic. And we're gonna be dumping people on Camden Road who typically don't travel Camden Road. I think we need to put some additional signage out there that is a warning sign for slow traffic. You've got all of the Amish that live on that road.
There's certain signs we can put out, certain signs we can't, and that's not a regulatory sign.
You can't put a sign out that warns people that you have farm machinery, horse and buggies for this period of time.
There
So
shouldn't be any signs like that.
I disagree with you.
Well, I'm
Because,
sorry.
because I
But
think
there's
that
state laws that-
you're putting those people and the people that potentially could hit them all in a, you aren't making any effort to give them a warning. They're not used to driving those roads. And you come up and it's hilly, the first 2 or 3 miles east of 49 are hilly. You come up over one of those roads, and if you've got an Amish team of horses and a manure spreader going 5 miles an hour and you're flying 60 miles an hour, to me, it's just common sense that you would do something like that. And I'm bringing that from people who live there in that township.
Well,
It's not something you're gonna leave there forever, it's only gonna be during this construction period when you have the detour.
Okay, I mean, we've got the signs that are out there. There's certain signs that are allowed by the state, there's certain signs that aren't.
This isn't a state highway.
The state regulates signs on every road, even our county roads. When you say the state laws regulate what signs can be there and why they have to be there.
I go into Branch County and I see signs, numerous places in Branch County that show a horse and a buggy, or have other language that tells the driver on the road, you know, that you've got horse and buggy traffic. That means slow down. It means there are obstacles on sections of road that are not normally there. So why are they able to put those up and we can't? That's what you're telling me.
Then their county is elected to do that.
Usually that's a township that opts to pay for that, because that's not something that the road
But it's
commission.
normally not even the township, it's the city or village that they get their own Act 51 money. They can deem what they.
These signs that I see are out in townships. They're not in cities or villages.
I can't talk what Lenawee or Branch or any other county does. If you wanna make an ordinance to say what signs go up, by all means, that's your right. That's your function as a board.
I can
If you wanna-
address that. There's been a few years back, they come to us, the Amish did, about putting up horse and buggy signs on it. And, first of all, they had to pay for them, and they had to pay us to put them in on top of that. And our request was, if we put the signs up, you have to agree to either put a light on your buggy or a fuel moving vehicle sign. And they would not do it, so we would not put the signs up. But they have to pay for the signs. They can't, the road commission can't pay for the signs.
Okay,
And
so
then you need to have a policy then saying
For
what
that,
signs
yes.
can go up, what signs won't.
well, just let me say, last night on my way to Camden, I came across at least 2 horse and buggies. They had flashing lights. You know, there has been a change in that community.
There's been a few, there's been a few years ago that we.
You know, So I could see them for a half a mile away. They were pretty intense. But I really think it's something for this project on Camden Road that we need to do. Or we're gonna have some bad accidents out there.
So are you saying it's illegal to put these signs out? These extra signs? Is that what I'm hearing?
We should not be putting out any sign that's not a regulatory sign. Something that normally most signs take a TCO or traffic control order to give a cop something to write it against. So if you speed, there's a traffic control order or a state law that says they can write a ticket for that. There's a stop sign, there's a TCO for every stop sign. That's a TCO for every yield sign.
This has been a touchy subject with not just the Amish, but hidden driveways, children at play. There's a few other ones, because it gives false security to the users, thinking that now the motoring public is actually gonna be more cautious around them, when in most chance, the motoring public isn't gonna change their habit on how they're gonna drive. So now you might have the Amish or the children out there feeling like they're more secure because those signs are out there, when in actuality, the risk is
There's
still
been
the same.
multiple studies throughout the state that deal with sign pollution and not having the right effect for having all these signs out there. And that's why they normally only want you to put out a regulatory sign. Now, is there some special instances where you, especially you as a board, can say you want otherwise? Yes, by all means. But I think you need to use that cautiously, and that's up to you.
In my view, during this project, on that stretch of Camden Road, I think we need to do something. I think to do nothing.
Where are you gonna put them? What are you gonna put? You talk slow-moving vehicle signs, you talk Amish signs. I mean, we could put up 1,000 different kinds of signs, but what's gonna serve the purpose, and what's gonna get the reaction that you need or you're looking for? I guess at that point, I defer to the board.
Well, I certainly think we need to do something. To sit here and do nothing, I think then that makes us negligent.
Can you reduce the speed limit?
No. That's one thing we can't do.
That's under traffic control order. So we as a board can adopt an ordinance.
Yes.
You wanna be.
Ordinance or policy, or, yeah, be very careful.
All it was just, can we
Because
adopt an ordinance?
what'll happen is you're gonna get every business come in and say, you know what, you put up a horse and buggy sign.
Yeah,
I want a sign for my business.
I want one for
And
deer.
they can do
I
it
like
if you
deer,
got
I
an
don't
ordinance.
want across the road.
On M99, somewhere, I think between Montgomery Road and Burt Road, there's a sign there that says, you know, farm machinery on the road. So how did that get put up?
Farmer probably bought it.
A lot of times, I can't answer how some signs got put up in the past. In the past, there was a lot of signs out there. And that's part of the issue, is there's too many signs out there. People are not paying, they don't see any sign. They don't even see our construction ahead sign, because they're so used to seeing signs out there, they don't even, you can have a guy run up on our work zone, they just passed 8 orange and black signs telling them what's going on, and they slam on the brake at the work zone and say, why don't you guys have signs out here? They turn around and look at those 8 signs you just drove by, they don't see them. Because people are getting too used to signs everywhere, and they just don't look at it.
And then people don't obey them. They're having the same trouble in Jerome with people speeding.
That's why you use them judiciously, and in those spots you really want it to stand out, and it needs to stand out when you do it. Not just put up signs for a hidden drive, and put up signs for children playing, and, you know, a horse and buggy, a truck crossing, or farm tractors. Everybody just sees a sign, and they don't even look at them anymore. And that hinders our guys out there when we're putting up signs to protect our guys. When they don't see signs, they don't see any of them.
Well, I disagree with you. I think signs do make a difference.
That's
And I
where
guess
the board
if
needs
you
to-
use your theory, carry it to the extreme, you know, we've talked about in some locations, we have flashing signs around stop signs. Why do that then?
Because you've probably had multiple serious accidents there.
Yeah.
That brings that attention right there to that one. And that gets people's attention.
But I've had some citizens say, you know, that's a waste of money too. I don't agree with them. Just like I think we need to do something here on Camden Road during this project. I'm not saying we need to leave them out there afterwards. I don't think so. But I think we need to do something now.
Again, I'll defer to the board.
All right, anything else?
Yes. Tonight, I believe, is Moscow Township's
Yes,
meeting.
yes.
And on their agenda, we'll be talking about Bivens Road again.
Okay.
Has the board thought about what stance you would like us to take on that? I guess,
Do we have any more information? Where are they meeting? Or is it on their agenda to approve it?
it just says like a
Just a discussion item?
discussion
Yeah.
on Bivens Road. Now, Stoneco has sent them a
$240,000.
plan, you know, that, oh, we'll give you this and this and this and this if you're closing the road. And one of them is like $245,000 to the township because of the loss of the road, which they don't own the road, it's our road. They don't lose any road, it's us and the motoring public lose the road. Personally, I think it's setting a bad precedent, and this is just me personally, this has to come from the board, but this is my take on it. It sets a bad precedent to abandon a portion or all of a road because somebody owns both sides of it. If you get into that,
Be every farmer.
farmers are gonna get into it. They're gonna want to farm across because they make more money. You know, farm, take the fence rows out, and farm across.
They own to the side of the road.
So I think their original option, their original ask was to put a tunnel underneath the road and be able to put a conveyor under there. And personally, I think that's the avenue that we should pursue right now. Now, whether that later down the road turns into, abandoning a section road or whatever, I guess that could be dealt with then. But there's a long time that it can be mined with a conveyor. We got 2 different places in Jackson, I think, that have those conveyors under the road. Just a big box cement culvert that the conveyor runs through. I personally think that would be the way to go right now to start off with. But again, that's going to be.
I take it you're going to be at the
I am planning to go on a meeting. I am planning on attending the meeting this evening. So if the road commission board here wants me to speak to that, they need to tell me what I'm supposed to say.
I was planning on going myself.
Okay.
I talked to Bill Petrie the other day, and he sent me the agenda for the meeting, and that's where I saw it on there. I talked to him, and I basically said the same thing to him, that my feelings would be to start off anyway with a conveyor and go from there as something elevates from there. He seemed to be okay with that, which kind of surprised me from the times that we've talked in the past. And he was kind of like, okay, well, whatever you as the road commission decide, we'll go with it. I mean, so it's almost seems like the township per se has backed off a little bit on this is what is going to happen to whatever you guys decide.
Well, maybe initially, when they heard that $240,000 carrot out there.
Sure, that's.
But did you remind them that it's not their road?
Yes, I did.
You remind them the money would come to the road commission.
Well, I didn't say that because that's not.
Well, and I
That's
think Bill would argue that. I think that township board would argue that. I don't
Yes.
think they would have given up easily and say, oh yeah, it's your money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
'Cause I think
That
it
was my impression. of the
kind of
conversation.
earmarked for like a park
Yes,
project that they had,
yes.
But there was a lot of things on that agreement
Proposal.
that proposal that Stoneco gave them that they would do for the township.
Right.
I didn't see anything on there that would do anything for the road commission or the motoring public.
Our normal procedure is, if you're gonna close a road, here to here, anybody on that road that disagrees, it will not get closed. And I think we've got 3 or 4 people that disagree.
And at that point, again, this is gonna be another one of those things, kinda like the signs. That's something the board needs to take a stance on, or say this is what we expect, or this is what we'll allow, and.
Cause you'll see that if nobody lives on that road, and the farm road's this one and this one, it might be a shortcut, but he's gonna want that road closed.
Correct,
That's my road, I want it closed.
correct. 'Cause he
Most of the
owns
time, when you
road.
abandon a road, it's a stub. So where it
Yeah.
goes into
Yes.
somebody's property or splits 2
Yeah.
properties and they each get half,
And it
it
stops.
doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't stop but you're going into their property and stopping anyway. That's normally where you see an abandonment, not a straight through road that has people on one end and then shut it off. But
So what direction does the board wanna take? Do we wanna just do a opinion here and,
I'd like to see the tunnel.
and have
Me too.
Kathy and Bob present it?
Do we need to make a motion, or can we just have a
That's
consensus and then
basically
it's in
what
our
I'm,
minutes?
that's basically what
I
I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Consensus.
Because I think there still needs to be lots of talk
Correct.
between us, the
Okay.
township and Stone Co. But maybe tonight,
Okay,
you can let them know this is the avenue we would
The
expect it
board's-
to go.
Yeah, my consensus would be to go with the tunnel
Absolutely,
and go from there.
tunnel,
for several reasons, yeah.
Yeah,
so
And at
in our
that point, we
minute,
would designate that tunnel would have to be outside the the openings would have to be outside the right of way.
yeah.
So that all the slope and everything, because when they start digging, that's gonna go,
We don't wanna
And so-
undermine the road.
it needs to be as wide as possible, which to me, all we can require is that tunnel be to the right of way, for
Yeah.
66 foot.
Yeah.
Other than that, hopefully they would do it a little bit wider, but
what about drainage? Do we have to talk
I
about
think-
drainage
I
with
think it's gonna
regard?
be a pond. I mean, this-
Well,
If
I
they
know.
start digging, the water's gonna go in there.
But what I'm saying is that I think that road, that it's a hilly road. I don't remember exactly where the hill is. Versus-
It's fairly straight, fairly flat.
Well, it's straight, but there's a hill, cause we went
Yeah, a little
down it.
bit, yeah, but
And so do we have any drainage issues with them putting a tunnel on under it that we need to talk
no,
to them
because I
about?
think that hill that you're talking about is before where you'd get to the tunnel.
I
So
think that would be
you'd go
true.
down and be back onto the,
Okay,
and even if it was coming there, it's gonna go to either side of their tunnel and it's gonna go where they're digging.
okay,
I mean,
okay.
They'll have to pump the
So-
water out.
Okay.
I don't think there'll be a,
An issue for the road?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So in our minutes, it's gonna reflect that our consensus is we're leaning, tunnel is what we would prefer.
Okay.
alright. We're in the process of working on the data for the traffic summit, which is gonna be November 19th this year. No, sorry, 29th. We held it here last year, it's gonna be held in the city this year, so the city's hosting it. And so us, MDOT, the city, the villages will all meet and go through, you know, what we've done this year, what we plan for next year, kind of thing for all the different municipalities.
What's that date again?
The 29th.
November.
And
About 6.
what's the time?
10 a.m.
And it's gonna be at City Hall?
Yes, the cities, yep.
So what's the data you're collecting?
It's just all the projects that we've done this year, what got completed, and so there'll be maps showing, you know, what got chip sealed, what got paver patched, or, you know, all the different projects, Montgomery Road and Camden Road and the bridges, and then what's projected for next year. And so that's the whole intent of it, is the projection of next year's where it started, so that utility companies and stuff like that could come and see, okay, this is what they're planning next year, and they can kind of start planning around it. It's kind of turned into dog and pony show, to show what we did and what we're gonna do. I don't know if the utility companies are even come to this anymore, but that was the way it originally intended.
So is this board gonna have that information before that meeting?
Hopefully.
Because I would like to know that.
Yeah,
I
so,
would like to
yes.
be aware
Because we have
of
to
what
give it
you're
to them
gonna
so they can
present.
upload it into their
Right,
computer and to where they can show it, so yes, we can.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Now,
So,
it might be
well,
the week prior.
Well, because our meeting on that is the 22nd.
We should be able to do that.
Sure.
You gotta-
No
that's Charlie's
problem.
department.
Well, again, as a road commissioner, I would like to be aware of that before you're presenting it to the general public. General public says, Kathy, I see road commission do this, this, and this